Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au or shop 394 to 398 Middleborough Road, Blackburn, Victoria, and also find them on Facebook. Thank you very much, EJ Cards, for sponsoring us.
Welcome everybody to episode 46 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam Amy and Russell Gibson. Russell, how are you on this fine evening? We won't tell you what night of the week it is, by the way, because it's definitely not Sunday.
My voice is coming back, so I'm better, and I have to admit I'm feeling better too, so I'm happy about that.
And there's every chance that I should be miserable right now or ecstatic. I'm not sure because it's before the grand final and we've got a long weekend. So we've got a little bit to talk about. There's a little bit on the run card this week, including we're still on the hunt, pun intended, for a segment name.
Yeah, definitely. I think by next week we'll have it nailed down. We've got some good suggestions on socials.
The suggestions are coming in thick and fast, and
yep.
I don't know. I thought my treasure hunting, quick hitter was a good one to get things started, but I don't think we're going to be there at the end.
I think it'll be shortlisted, but yeah, I don't think it's a winner.
Damn it.
I wouldn't take it personal.
That's all right. Speaking of not taking it personal, let's go down to start off with the teams that need some love.
Absolutely.
And I even suggested this one because I'm starting to feel sorry for the Clippers, which is really funny.
Why do you feel sorry for them?
Oh, they don't get hobby love.
That's
I
true.
like seeing them suffer during the regular season.
Yeah.
But look, it's nice to every team needs a bit of hobby love. And I do see the Clippers struggle, especially in the pick your team breaks.
Yeah, they are. They are on the lower end.
They are. They're definitely a raffle prize a lot of the time.
Yeah.
No offense to any of the Clipper fans out there.
No, I mean, they're not a bad get in a PYT. Like, they've got some nice players in there. But let's start with Kawhi Leonard. I haven't seen a Kawhi Leonard autograph for, I can't even remember the last time. So,
is he signing anymore?
I don't think so. And I think, that plays into it a little bit because I think it would be awesome to get a Kawhi Leonard autograph. But if he's not signing, well, then that definitely does bring down the price of a PYT. I think that's going to be a reasonable thing to say. Yeah. So in PMs today, we've actually been talking about Kawhi Leonard, and I think part of that was we were talking about why isn't he getting the amount of hobby love that he should be getting?
Mr. Personality.
Yeah. And what are some of the factors that contribute to that? So what do you think about that?
I think because he is such a private individual, it definitely takes a toll, has an impact, and that's probably the main reason. I mean, we'll call it the hype effect.
Yeah.
I think the most hype he got is when he made that stupid laugh after they won the championship. and look, I mean, we haven't got a premium card ladder account, but I'd like to go back to that period and see if it caused a spike, because that's the only time he's really been on socials, except for when there was drama with the Spurs and when he wasn't talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, all of his social media coverage is when he's not talking.
Yeah.
And all well and good to be a private person, but I guess if you're in this public spotlight and it's all about hype, being a good basketballer isn't all to it as far as the hobby's concerned.
So my old gym coach, his favorite quote was, "I'm a fun guy," which was what Kawhi Leonard said at one of his interviews when I think they were trying to build up his sort of public persona or something like that. And that was one of the things that he said. Yeah. I mean, that's tough to bounce back from that, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, so listen, what do you think his silver PSA 10 last sold for?
Silver PSA 10.
Rookie. Just ballpark.
$2,500.
Yeah. And it's really funny, isn't it? Because I think when we talk about Kawhi Leonard, we sort of say, oh, he's not hobby this and he's not hobby that. So his last sale was $7,200.
Whoa.
That's US dollars too, right?
Whoa.
And that's actually down 7%. So there's only been 2 sales of it in the last 3 months, and the previous sale before that was 7.8. So it's so funny, isn't it, where you sort of sit back and say, oh, he's got no hobby love, he's not getting this, he's not getting that, he's not in the public spotlight. But that's like some real bananas. And I think that was the other thing I was trying to talk in our like private chat today. I was trying to say, well, if he's so undervalued, like we know what a fantastic career that he's had. And that was the other question I was asking too. Let's just pretend he retired today. Like he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt at all. Like
even if he never plays again, you know. So
well, what has he done? He destroyed LeBron as a Spur and won a Finals MVP. Notice that the people that weren't LeBron James that won Finals MVPs were the people that guarded LeBron James.
Yeah.
In those series. So Kawhi in that Miami San Antonio series, very young at that point too. Yeah. Very young in his career. Yeah, was dominant, won his first Finals MVP there. Then he did it again in Toronto. So he's won 2 championships on with 2 different franchises.
Yeah, which means a lot.
Defensively, like one of the best defensive players
ever
in the game.
Yeah, he is freakish defensively what he can do to people.
There's a reason they call him the Claw, right?
Yes.
Like giant hands, and he's a robot. So, but it's crazy. He's a legend. He's going to be remembered as one of the all-time greats.
So buy, hold, or sell at that price, Ed?
Hold.
Yeah.
I don't think I can. Looking at the fact that it's sort of a plateau, I don't know if I'd be buying in.
I just wonder long term though if he's a really good purchase. I mean, this is way above anything that I was expecting.
Yeah,
and this is so far out of my ballpark now. This is just all hypothetical to me. But to me, that's like, you know, is he going to be an all-time great? Probably the answer is yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, last episode we talked about Nikola Jokic, and he was sitting around that 2 to 3K mark. The question I've now got is, if that's what Kawhi's doing, and Jokic just won 2 MVPs, right?
Yeah.
This man is just all-round good at basketball.
Yeah. Do you try and make it happen?
Is Jokic really a 5K card?
Yeah.
Is the question, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like looking at Kawhi, his base, and I know we hate to talk about base, but his PSA 10 base prism has only got a population of 1,100 odd, and that's up. That is up significantly over the last 3 months. It's almost doubled in value, actually, and that's not over 1 or 2 sales. That's from June sale of $350 US to most recently sold at over 700. So
yeah, I mean,
that prism set is not the easiest to get graded as 10s either.
The problem with 700 USD is that's more than 1,000 now. Like that's a lot to spend on a base card, you know.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, for argument's sake, his base card has gone up.
Yeah. Look, there might be still some room to move in that, considering what the silver's selling for. Like that's a very large differential.
That's true.
But for me, I mean, that's really tough. Like, you know, again, in hypotheticals, like if you're buying that in the $300 range, and we don't have the data before the last 3 months, but that would be, you know, if that was sitting around the 200s, that's a fantastic buy if you're getting in on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And but that's Kawhi, right? He's probably the most collectible Clipper.
What about Paul George?
Glad you asked. Okay. Paul George. Man, I don't know. He's just been... I think he doesn't get enough love. I know there are some people out there that collect him, and he's a great fundamental player, but he's kind of just the quiet achiever as well. But he's just... How do you say it? They're both on the same team. He's a poor man's Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's that good basketballer, but he just hasn't had any of the success that his teammate has.
Yeah.
He was a great defender. He went through some horrific injuries. But yeah, once they sort of joined forces, they haven't been able to put it together in Los Angeles. In Indiana, he put the team on his back a number of times. He almost got to the promised land. But just sort of, I don't know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of thing with Paul George.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of truth to that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I suppose the question for me is, will he win a championship?
That's up to Kawhi, isn't it?
And, well, his health, at least. I think that's, you know, and to be fair to Paul George, he hasn't been the healthiest his entire career.
No,
that's definitely holding back. So interesting about Paul George, he's 2010 rookie year, so that's pre-Prism. So Prism's first year was 2012. That took me a little while to work that out, but I'm there now. So PSA 10, Paul George Donruss rated rookie card, last sold for $233 USD. That's actually up 63%, which is really interesting. So if you're applying the Joshua Furuga rule here, are you anticipating the Clippers are going to have a big year here?
I actually think that the acquisition of John Wall parallels the spike. That could be the spike. They've actually just put that down.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think about that? Buy, hold, sell? What are you doing with there?
Paul George, I'm if I've got them at that, if I've got those, I'm selling them. I don't know. I'm not on it. I'm not keen. I'm just not keen because he's never been able to get to the promised land. And as I said, if I'm sort of looking at someone, I'm looking at Kawhi.
Yeah.
On this team anyway, if it's a Clipper.
I mean, I understand why there's such a large price differential. Like, you can't compare Donruss to Prism, and you can't compare, base to silver. I get that 100%. But in saying all of that, like, the talent differential between the two is not that large, from $233 to $7,000. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, it's a big price differential.
Yeah, like in my head, I think there's like a bit of room to move for this. And
is there another set that is? There wasn't even a tops, was there? This is sort of like the dead zone.
Well, when you go down, there's National Treasures.
That's interesting. So like the RPA.
Yeah, and you can get a Kaboom.
Wow.
I lie to you. That's 2019. Oh, and there's a 2010 limited. That's the other thing you could look at too. But
okay, no, that means there's not a whole lot else.
I would probably think that the Donruss would be
Yeah.
I'm doing this in air quotes now.
Air quotes. Yeah.
The rookie card, right? I think that's the rookie card for Paul George.
Yep. Yeah. There's a Prestige, 2010 Prestige, but that's even less.
Yeah, I think Donruss is the more, premier.
Yeah.
What other prospects are you looking at on the Clips?
Prospect-wise, I was going to say who was it? There was an old prospect on the Clippers that I used to collect a little bit of, and that's Zubac.
Okay, talk to me about Zubac.
I just loved him when he was a Laker and thought, you know what, this rookie's gonna develop into a really good center, which he has. Funnily enough, but yeah, it was. I was high on him early, and he sort of paved himself a bit of a career. But
all right, walk us through some Zubac.
Let's have a look. Is there any on card ladder? Let's see. Oh wow, there is. Well. If you've got a spare, last sold price, by the way, this is spare $100.
Yeah, what do you got for me?
A silver Prism PSA 10. Okay.
Do you think that's a good buy?
If I can get it below 100, I'd be doing that. He's also like, if they win a championship, I think a lot of those, he's a key piece. He is their starting center.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's only so many stars you can get, and he being a key role player there has really developed well. Like, I mean, I don't think it's gonna turn into a Kawhi rookie anytime soon.
No.
but it's silver prisms like this that sell anywhere from $50 to $100 that a team goes on a tear, and we'll talk about the hype factor. You get Zubac go like on some crazy 20-20 streak of like points and boards.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, his silver's going for $200.
Yeah.
And that's when you sell, right?
Yeah. So what about the minutes competition from Hartenstein? Do you believe in him as a prospect? Because there's a couple of writers that I read / listen to, and they are super high on this kid. Look, the way that Doc plays his rotations, he's very sort of like, all about method and very sort of set in his ways. For someone else to break into the rotation, I'm a little bit sort of skeptical of that.
So who are we looking at?
If you're looking at Basketball Reference, his number is 55, Isaiah Hartenstein.
I don't have him on the real. I've got him in real. I'm on Real GM at the moment.
Okay, that's all right.
Might not even be listed. That could prove problematic.
He should be definitely on the roster. Yeah.
Oh, maybe Real GM hasn't updated it.
So maybe the one that I like is Luke Kennard, because He was drafted in 2017 by the Detroit Pistons, and it was a really weird trade the way that he was moved away because they didn't really get an asset back for him. Yep. And then almost automatically the Clippers re-signed him for quite significant money. I like Kennard's game. I like he can do a little bit of everything, handle the ball, he can shoot a little bit. He's big enough that he's not going to get bullied by other guards and other forwards. Threes, he can definitely guard a three. I also like him in their system too because he doesn't have to be particularly the primary playmaker. And I think that's where he struggled in Detroit a little bit, was then when there's a lot of ball pressure on him, I feel like that's when he turned the ball over a lot. So I like him paired with Paul George, or I like him paired with Kawhi Leonard. I think that's a really nice little 2-3 sort of pairing. Now, this is super interesting. His PSA 10 silver last sold for $10. So I know we haven't named our show treasure hunting or something like that, but I feel like, the pirate in me is trying to reach out and that's I love that stuff. So for $10, I'm struggling to believe that you'll be able to do that again. I would imagine that will be an auction, and essentially people will just stop auctioning them once they see them being sold for $10.50. Why would you even bother?
Yeah, that's fair.
I would say buy everything you can get of silver PSA 10 Kennard for $10.50. I think that's an absolutely delicious little buy. I like him as a prospect. The other thing you can do too with Kennard is you can get his numbered rookie stuff because, we talk about hype and all that type of stuff. His hype value is quite low at the moment. So
you're hoping for some breakout performances and...
Well, I think if
breakout, but if he plays makes some serious contributions.
Well, there's two things that give me a good feeling about Kennard. One is I actually think the Clippers have got a pretty good team. I don't think it's a talent issue. I think it's a health issue. And, at some point, all those people have to be healthy at some stage. The other thing too is they've really paid Kennard. He's not on a minimum salary. Mm-hmm. So there's no reason why you would pay someone and not play them. And I think also too, my gut feeling about the Clipper front office now, and I'm actually shocked I'm saying this, I think they're quite functional. I think they communicate between the front office and the coach. So I don't think Doc would have signed off on that, or at least given his blessing if they didn't want him there. So
that's fair. That's fair.
That's what sort of makes me feel good about him. Probably the person that would put a kibosh on all of this is Terrence Mann. That's the one that I think... he really has had an emergence.
I was going to name Terrence Mann, and there's a lot of people out there that are like, do you remember the Terrence Mann game?
I do actually.
It was funny. That was a thing.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of hype we're talking about though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? If there's a game known as the Terrence Mann game, that means he took over, right?
Yeah.
And was that in the bubble? I think that was the bubble season.
I'm going to say...
Was it the season after?
I think that was the season after, but irregardless.
Yeah, irrespective of exactly where it was, the fact there's a game named the Terrence Mann game, that's when everyone went berserk on it. And that's the kind of hype we're talking about.
Well, when we say berserk, his PSA 10 silver last sold for 27, so 3 times higher than what Kennard is.
Yeah. But and when at the time of the Terrence Mann game, silvers would have spiked to 100 plus. Didn't get to Jordan Poole levels of crazy.
No, I don't know what I couldn't find him on card letter, so I can't get that. Those
I wish.
But
if only.
If only we were sponsored by Card Letter and we had a full.
That's it. Full access to all of the history. And somebody look, I'm doing a little bit of research. Yeah, Terrence Mann, there's a little bit of data, but I've got a name and I can't find much on Card Letter, and I think this is the reason the Clippers are big this season, and it's John Wall.
Yeah, cool. Let's talk John Wall because that's actually a really interesting one.
It's a very interesting one. Where does John Wall sit in your eyes as far as an NBA player? We'll say before he got injured.
So I don't think the issue with John Wall is his talent. I think his talent is incredibly high level, and there was a reason why he went number one. He's a Kentucky kid, and I've said a lot about Kentucky guys in the past before. I haven't really hidden my feelings about that. I think the recruiting at Kentucky is just it's just ridiculous, really.
Mm.
So I think the two things that's happened to John Wall that probably is not in his favor. Actually, I'll list three things. He's been injured, and that's affected his athleticism, which his game is reliant on that. He has been very public about his mental health issues and his, dealings with that. I think that would definitely be affecting his, potential in future play. And then the next thing that you have to consider with John Wall too is spacing, because his three ball is not something that, when I think about John Wall's game, I'm particularly afraid of.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't set the world on fire. Yeah,
it's more his in-between game that he's, a really good jump shooter. So, and the way that the league has changed the last couple of years, how teams are just shooting just ridiculous volumes of 3-point shots. I think that's a little bit problematic.
Agreed.
Does that mean that he's not going to be a really key contributor to the Clippers? I don't think so. I think that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have got enough talent to, compensate for that. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see hobby-wise what his impact has. Like if anyone jumps on board, if people were collecting him. I know there's not a lot as far as his rookie year goes.
Yeah.
Was he 2010 as well?
He's also 2010, yeah.
Yeah. So there's not even a Don Russ rated rookie I can find on card ladder, that is.
Yeah.
Then that's rough.
Well, I think that speaks to, again, I keep saying
his hobby value, I guess.
Well, the Josh Faruga rule, the hype. Like there's just no hype around this guy.
Yep.
There's
no Faruja factor.
So this is actually really juicy. So on September the 5th, his Don Russ rookie card sold for $4.25. That was raw.
Yep.
His Prestige sold for $1.84. And his Prestige PSA 9 sold for $5.50. So,
wow.
We were speaking about this just, a couple of minutes earlier about the price differential between Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you compare, say, Luke Kennard and John Wall right now? Who's got the most talent out of those two? Because, look, their rookie cards are going at, I would argue, very
comparable prices.
Yeah.
I would say, well, the runs are on the board, right? Or the writing's on the wall. John Wall is the more talented player.
Yeah.
He's a lot older, but he could just slot right in and just take just take off where he finished and just be dominant. He could be scary good.
Yeah.
Out of the gate. He might not be, and he probably won't be, but it's possible. He's got the basketball know-how. It's not like he hasn't watched basketball for the better part of 2 years. He's been in and around it. So
if you're playing straight percentages, though, I think that's a very safe play. Yeah. I think if you're buying a rookie card for $1 or $5, you know what I mean? Like in terms of that, doubling or tripling, I think that's a pretty safe bet.
And look, and at this, I don't think you're going to do your dough on a John Wall card.
Well, I mean, if you do, you'll still sleep at night. You'll be okay.
Correct. It's interesting though. Like he's an all-star. It's an all-star level player. Rookie card for $10.
I think the other thing too is he hasn't really played for 2 years, has he? Like Houston,
it's been 2 years.
Yeah, they literally just didn't want to play.
What was it? A knee followed by an Achilles? Like it was insane.
Yeah, I thought it was Achilles.
I'd be more concerned if he didn't have mental health problems after that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's a rough.
I mean, his contract's just as untradeable as Russell Westbrook's, but somehow,
well, he was bought out.
It wasn't he? He was traded to Houston and then bought out, wasn't he? Yeah. But that was funny that it was swapped for Westbrook.
Anyone else you want to talk about on this roster, mate?
On that roster, not really. No, there's only so long I can talk about the Clippers. Who have we got?
I think honorable mention.
Norman Powell.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I think that's as much as I want to talk about him. Do you know what I mean? I think the other guys we've touched on is like,
I have found Hartenstein, by the way.
Oh, good.
The Lithuanian player. That's where we go. Okay, 2017 pick 13, round 2. So what's that? 43rd. There's a few role players there. I think the only other one that maybe look at Rob Covington.
Yeah, maybe.
Nah, don't worry about it. Not on card ladder. But that's the thing. These are all players that have the potential to be that cheapy, pick up their rookie card, wait for a couple of good games, and look for a spike.
Look, this has actually been a lot more fun for me than what I was anticipating. I wasn't expecting to see Paul George at that price. I wasn't expecting to see Kennard at that price, and also John Wall. So I think that to me is like they're the three takeaways for me. Not bad at all. Yeah,
it's
Alrighty.
Yeah. And then we don't have to talk about the Clippers again for another year. Is that right?
I mean, well, yeah. Alrighty, this is a card porn topic. What are the safest players and cards to collect in the current market and why? So some of the answers that responded to this actually were non-NBA, but we're just going to keep it to NBA.
Yeah. So no, we're not mentioning Charizard.
I would prefer if we didn't talk about Charizard.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, it's got to be the greats, hasn't it? They're safe as houses.
Sure. Talk to me. Like, what are your thoughts?
Right, so if I buy a Jordan, whether it be a $5 Jordan, a $10 Jordan, a $10,000 Jordan, it's Michael Jordan, right? Like, I know we live in the age of cancel culture, but Jordan's not getting cancelled anytime soon.
Unlikely.
Like, he's the greatest, like, has been named the greatest player of all time.
And very good at maintaining his image too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I think those... I mean, you can name him, Kobe, LeBron, the ones that are always in the GOAT debate. The reason they're there is because they'll always have that status. Yep. I mean, if that's not a safe bet, I don't know what is.
Yep.
It's probably not going to make you crazy rich if you're going to invest in these players, because the spikes are few and far between, but they're steady. It's like one of those, like a term deposit. You get a steady interest rate on it.
Yeah, sure.
You've seen the card sort of increase gradually over the years.
Yep.
You're not looking at those spikes. You're looking at good, safe, long-term gains.
So I think I've got about maybe 5 Jordan cards in my whole collection. Like, I'm really... It's not that I'm not interested. It's just something... I was just always interested in different players. I think that's the best way to put it. But last week's conversation has actually really made me think about buying more Jordan, because if we talk about, people who are, bought and sold, it's amazing to see how much activity is on Card Ladder specific to Jordan.
Yep. It's crazy.
That is eye-opening. And when you think about it too, there's nothing particularly in the news about Jordan either. Like, this is his standard sort of traffic.
Yeah.
I suppose there was that $10 million jersey thing. I mean, that is, I can't say that's not news, but
it is. It's one of those. Jordan is an icon of basketball. Like, he's a logo in basketball.
Yeah.
Sure, Jerry West is. I'm not telling people to go out and buy Jerry West cards because he is the logo, but it's different. That Jordan that Jordan brand is a brand. It's the first professional basketballer to be a brand.
He's an absolute icon. I don't think
there's no second. Like, there's no way that iconic brand is disappearing either.
Yeah.
So as far as safe goes,
yeah. I suppose just to second what you're saying there, I think there's something, quite sensible in that. I'm going to approach this from a slightly different perspective, and I think I'm going to talk about it how I maybe justify buying the cards that I buy.
Okay.
Yeah. Because so the things I look for when I'm buying cards, and I haven't counted this or fractioned it or, percentaged it or something like that, but I would say that probably 70% of the cards I have are rookie cards.
Oh, wow.
So I'm quite rookie heavy when I'm buying. That gives me some safety, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think if something is worth buying, it's their rookie card or the rookie card.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The other thing I look forward to then is autographs, because, let's just use it's not the best argument, but I'll use this argument. So let's just talk about a Zion rookie card. We know that there's 17,000 10s. So that means there's probably 34,000 9s and that there's probably another 40,000 base. Is that reasonable to...
Oh, look, at the way that Zion base PSA 10s are going up, there's going to come a point where there are more Zion PSA 10s than the population of a small country.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yes, you're right.
So then following down that sort of same thought pattern, well then I would imagine the most amount of rookie autographs he did was maybe 1,000.
Yep.
So there's 40 times less of them. And that makes me feel safe when I'm buying them because I know that, it's quite a finite thing. And the other thing I like about that too is it just feels a bit more authentic, I suppose, because there is that sort of extra, part of the card.
For sure.
So then taking it one step further than that, if I can get an RPA, that's what I feel the safest in buying, because I probably think at the end of the day, the most coveted card or the most coveted type of card is an RPA. So I really like a nice RPA. The only sort of caveat to that at the moment is, in particular, the last, say, 12 to 18 months in cards, is that I think RPAs are being slightly less coveted from 18, 19, 17, 18 because the stuff isn't, game worn or player worn or game associated or, whatever it is. So I think that's actually a little bit tricky, to be honest, because that does make me, think a little bit.
So the P is on the decline from the RPA. Like rookie auto is great, but the quality of the patches are gone. So it's more
so I think particularly when release dates are coming, the sale prices are high.
Yeah.
Like Josh Giddey RPAs was selling for 10,000 K plus.
Yeah, it's insane.
From NT. And those patches were beautiful looking. They were delicious, but they weren't game associated, nothing. They were just like a patch. So, what my concern about that is that what's the market going to look like that in that space in 10 years time or 20 years time? That, to be honest, I don't know the answer to that. I do wonder, let's just say in Flawless, they come out and they're all game worn. Is a Flawless going to be 5 times more than an NT this year? Like, are we going to see, because it's real funny. Like NT and Flawless, the price difference isn't that great.
No.
But are we going to now see this,
a massive
huge
quality
divide,
Well, it becomes a quality issue, right?
In some people's eyes, it's 100%, it's a quality issue. Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I like to look for too is just a card that I like, because, and I know this sounds very sentimental or whatever, but so let's just say you buy a card for $600 and then 6 months later it's $300. That's what the last comp sold for. Yeah. And if you like the card, well, you're still a bit disappointed because you could have waited 6 months and had 2 of them. That's true. There's no argument in that. But at least you like the card. I think sometimes, and I've been burnt, I've had this feeling myself. I've bought cards to invest in and I haven't liked the card and I'm stuck with them. So I've stopped doing that quite a long time ago. So yes, I'll invest in cards. I'm not hiding that ever for a second, but
no,
I would also say too, I only buy stuff that I actually like these days to, quote unquote invest in. So,
just in case you want that safety net that if you are stuck with it, at least you like it.
Yeah. Or someone, busts their ACL and then, that's it. You're sort of stuck on this card. Well, okay, that's fine. Well, I feel
bust their ACL, heal up a little bit, tear their Achilles.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I sort of approached that end, I suppose. Yeah.
No, I think that's a very smart way of going about it, especially the sentimental side. Like, I know a lot of us are talking about investing in cards, but I mean, the reason at the end of the day, if we don't like the cards we're buying, well, at least we got boxes to put them in, I guess. But, yeah, like you buy cards that live up to the hype as well.
Yep.
Try to stick to the sets that people do like.
Prism.
Yep. So that's the thing though. Like if you're investing in a rookie card and the price point's okay, obviously the sought after stuff. Like Topps Chrome is before Prism, it was Topps Chrome.
Yeah.
Now it's Prism. Down in 5 years' time, it might be another brand with Fanatics.
Yeah.
And whatever's happening with them. So look for I mean, it's all well and good if you're to get a Donruss and a Hoops, but if the main thing's being purchased by the wider community is Prism, like I hate to say buy a Prism base card, but it's safe to assume that if a player has a spike, their Prism card is going to go up.
Yeah.
That's the first card that spikes, like when the Terrence Mann game happened. Or Jordan Poole, for that matter. But yeah, I suppose I'll go on from, of course, you got LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, all-time greats, the late Bill Russell. You've got legends like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. These legends of the game, their career's done. There's no, is Magic going to have a ripper of a comeback tour?
Yeah.
He's retired.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, their race has been run.
Yeah.
The stats are on the score sheet.
Yeah. You're not going to get the big dips and...
Correct. They've got their place in history. And generally after that point, there's only one way the card goes. So, unless something extremely controversial happens.
Kevin Smith, he seconds you this 100% vintage, pre-1976, virtually impossible for the cards to lose value. They may not get the extreme high and lows of the modern market, but they are for sure safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's literally word for word what you were just saying.
Yeah. So it's and that's where I compare investing, I guess, in basketball cards or trading cards to long-term investments, like playing the stock market long-term.
Yeah.
Like you're buying those blue chip cards effectively.
Yeah.
Those names that you know are tried and true.
So David Birch said MJ, Morant, and LeBron.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
John Reed said Jordan all day, every day. Mm-hmm. Alex, excuse my pronunciation, Halimeh said LeBron James. Best 5-year outlook for blue chip players, in my opinion.
Yep.
Jimbo Penderley said Jordan. I'm only reading the basketball answers too. So if they said some basketball, some something else, I'm
every second one was Charizard, by the way.
Jeff Jones, vintage rookie and low pop count items. I could not agree more.
Love the low pop. Love low pop. Yep.
Yeah. That's about probably it. But
that's the thing. Like we're probably looking at a new generation of blue chippers coming up. Steph Curry is on my radar as one of those. Luka and Giannis to an extent, but I think Curry's definitely cemented himself as one of those after last season. That's in my eyes anyway. Yeah.
I think a lot of the Curry stuff has just gone crazy though, man. I think
correct.
In some ways that sort of ship has sailed.
But on the 25 year, you're probably going to make your slow gains over time. But
look, I really like Luka at the moment. He's actually slid back a lot to the point where affordable is not the word that comes to the forefront of my mind, but it doesn't seem as scary to buy Luka stuff at the moment that it did, say, 12 months ago. Like, to me, that was horrifying 12 months ago, what his stuff was selling for. Whereas now I'm kind of a bit like, oh, yeah, like I could maybe make that happen. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
This week's episode is brought to you by our very proud sponsor, Slabbed Cards, who specialize in card grading with PSA and SGC. Slabbed Cards are authorized PSA dealers, and card grading starts from $54.95 and includes full insurance, secure storage. Slabbed Cards have 2 tons of backgrade safes, 24-hour surveillance, and are located in a guarded, monitored building. All cards are scanned on arrival and are available to you for viewing at any time, and Slab Cards provide automatic progress notifications. Your submissions also come with complete tracking and notifications from start to finish. Slab Cards also offer specialized shipping services, domestic shipping service with up to $10,000 insurance per parcel, domestic secure hand-to-hand shipping service delivery within 24 hours of pickup, and international shipping with up to $150,000 of insurance per parcel. Contact Slab Cards for a quote at slabd.com.au. That's slabd.com.au. And also find them at 60 Weymount Street in Adelaide. Thanks very much for supporting us, Slab Cards.
Alrighty, shall we move on?
Yes.
Our last topic of the day. No. Our second last.
We've a second last. We've had a couple of listeners post in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
I haven't brought the post up or anything like that.
No, you don't need to, man.
It's become it's becoming a common question.
Yeah.
And it's obviously a play on words with our show. You can't comp this.
Yeah.
But what happens when you can't comp this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you want to buy a card, someone's got a card. What do you offer? What do they price it at?
Yeah.
I thought we just sort of do a bit of a brainstorm on the steps that we would take if we're trying to comp a card that has no comps. And I think we went through this process I think you went through it on one of the Facebook posts.
I was going to say, why don't you go first and then I'll sort of go through my answer and what my thoughts were and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the type of card it is. This is like there's a couple of examples where someone's cracked a numbered card is probably the most common, because when they're those low numbers, even stuff that's numbered to 25 is sometimes hard to find a comp for.
Agreed.
Right? So, sure, the number to 5, the 1 of 1, and I don't want to get into 1 of 1s this week because it's a bit different, but number to 5, number to 10, number to 25, very difficult to find comps on sometimes. So, my thought would be to use the other numbered or sequences in that set as a baseline.
Yep.
So you look at the value of the number to 199, you look at the value to 99. You've got a difference. Same way where you assess a pop count and how the scaling works.
Sure.
And then apply a rule of thumb and go, well, this is a lot more scarce. Add a multiplier of sorts. I'm not going to give an exact what I would add, but if it's a card number to 25, I'm not going to go, well, the number to 99 is worth $10, so I'm going to divide it by 4. It's now worth $100. Yep. I might even make it more. It depends on the player and the set. But all you need to do for a comp is you're comparing something. There's got to be something relative to what you're offering or selling.
Yeah,
a comp is a comparison, right?
You're trying to find something to guide your pricing.
Correct. Yeah. So if there's no direct comparison for the same card, you need to find another basis of comparison. And the fun part about this hobby is there is no hard and fast rule. There is discussing it with a discussion between the buyer and the seller, and coming to an agreeable amount. Simple as that.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of, but this sold for X, so you need to pay Y. No. This is a comparison. It's a supply-demand market, so if there's high demand for it, obviously the price is going to be a little bit higher. But at the end of the day, the buyer and the seller should work civilly, as I'm just going to caveat there, and not sort of get heated in their discussions, because two opinions might vary. But yeah, it's as long as you've got a logical sort of basis for your comparison, people will hear you out. Now, give us the real scientific version, Russell.
No, I think that's totally fine. I was going to say the two tools that I like to use is 130point.com.
Yes.
And
shout out to Lane.
Yeah. So essentially what that is like an aggregate, and it pulls it from a variety of different websites.
Yep.
eBay, it's pulling it from, I think even from Goldens now, PWCC.
Correct.
Some other auction sites too. And then basically when you do your search, it will just bring up the sold listings for that.
Mm-hmm.
I also like eBay, and you literally just go down the left-hand side, you just scroll down a little bit and click on sold, and that will show you all the sold listings for the cards. I know this is a little bit sacrilegious, but I actually prefer eBay sold listings to 130point.com.
Okay.
I use both, and I'll use both all the time, but I would generally go to eBay first because I'm not sure what happens with the data on 130point.com. I think sometimes after there's so many hits, it kind of gets like cut off or something, whereas I usually find a few more hits when I'm going on eBay. So I like that. And the other thing I would probably say too is I just search very broadly. So for example, the card that was put up on the page was a Scotty Barnes. Like I literally just searched for Scotty Barnes /5. That was it. I think that's really important because what can happen is you actually, if you search for more, you actually get less. It's not the case of you write in more, you get more. It's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So you do have to sort of keep that in mind a little bit, and that does mean that you'll be, scrolling through a few results that aren't that helpful. But you just have to sort of deal with that, and it's easy. You just skip through them, you just sort of move on to the next one. So that's the two tools that I use. The other thing you need to consider a little bit about too is, though, there's so many releases at the moment: Prism, NT, Flawless, Optic, Donruss, Noir, Origins, Donruss, Next Day Autographs, Obsidian, Recon, and I'm sure Chronicles has just been released, Select, Mosaic, so you do have to keep that in mind a little bit. And I think what you were talking about before with that sort of drawing out the lines on the board and, making sort of projecting something. It's a little bit the same way with that. So, for example, if you've seen a card sell a number to 5 in Optic and you're selling, for example, a Noir or a Recon, you have to say, well, that's either going to be higher or lower than that, and sort of, adjust your comp to that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think probably at the end of the day, and where I struggle as a seller and where I struggle as a buyer is, I think the highest comp is what your eye is drawn to when you're the seller, and the lowest comp is what your eye is drawn to when you're the buyer. Yep. So what my brother does, and I think this is quite clever and might not be that relevant to this exact example, but he takes the last 3 sales and he averages them out. He thinks that's the fairest way to do it.
That's nice. I actually think that's very reasonable.
Yeah.
It saves arguments, because all you're going to is the person at the lower at like that sees the lower price say, but this sold for this price.
Yeah. And I think that's good, because I would say particularly at the moment, there's some large variations in terms of like sold prices and comps. So
yeah,
I can see why that's actually a pretty reasonable thing to do. I think if you are selling something that's quite low numbered, the sale is important, but I would actually stress the timing of the sale is,
even more important.
So much more important. Yeah. So, a really good tool of what you can do is so look at Scotty Barnes' Prism rookie cards and go to Card Ladder. Is it trending upwards or is it trending downwards? If he's trending upwards, hold tight.
Yeah.
Don't sell now. Wait a couple of months. Is Scotty Barnes going to the moon and you're bottom, you're selling at the bottom and you're selling something short printed? Like, I know sometimes people do have, reasons they have to sell cards, and this is again something that might not be that applicable, but that is definitely something that, again, I would like take into consideration before I sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably think that's the main thing. So the particular card in question was a Recon number to 5 with a sticker auto.
Yeah.
I thought the best comp was a Donruss Optic to 10 autograph, because even though it's more 10s and 5s, it's saying obvious, but I'm saying this the nicest possible way. I think Optic is a slightly nicer set. So the Optic sold for $850. I think if you got $850 for that Recon, I think that's pretty nice,
It's good value.
I don't think that's too high. I don't think that's too low. So Carl, he found all the /5 autographs that have been sold. So, and this is really interesting. So the Leaf sold for $50, number to 5. The Contenders first off the line, Red Shimmer to 5, sold for $2,300. So,
the set makes a difference, clearly.
The set makes a difference, but also too, it's amazing the difference between those two cards, right? Like that's
both
not a
sticker autos?
I'm not too sure.
First off the line might be
I suspect they're both stickers, but yeah, I suppose more the thing that I took away from that is just that, the variance from it and probably picking, the right set, I suppose, like what you were just saying then.
Yeah.
So at the end of it though, so I think we can use his name. So Dom was actually just asking this for his own basically enjoyment. He's slabbed it and it's going straight into his PC. So, I think at the end of this, we need to say to Dom, congratulations, mate.
Yeah, well done on hitting a pretty sweet card.
Yeah, particularly for your PC. I think
that's awesome. Yeah. When you hit a PC card,
in a break or whatever, it's, it doesn't happen very often. So, just huge congratulations, mate. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Treasure hunting ad. Come on, let's go.
Mate, I at the moment, as we discussed this before the show, and at the beginning of the show, this name is probably not going to stick. So this is probably the only week that it's going to be called Treasure Hunting.
Yeah,
and that's all I've got to contribute this week.
I think next week we should have the name nailed down. We've had some really good suggestions in the socials. Adam and I just hadn't had enough time to sit down and nut it out, but we will have this sorted out by next week.
Look, we might even have a poll up during the week at some point to see people vote.
Yeah, sure.
Some contenders, some finalists.
That's a good idea.
If we're indecisive and can't make our mind up, we'll put the best 3 answers up, and the people can have their say.
So I'm just going to make not an apology, but I'm going to say this publicly. I'm going to try my hardest to not talk about Darren Fox during this segment. So,
but isn't all your best bargains, treasure hunting stories about finding De'Aaron Fox cards?
No, I think I had to challenge myself and get out there a bit more. So the card I found was a Michael Thompson, NBA grades autograph, National Treasures, 31 out of 49. It sold for $10 US. It has got an on-card autograph. He's in a Portland uniform, which,
still,
he played for Portland, but look, if I had a choice, I think I would probably go for a Lakers Michael Thompson, but, that's just me.
Yep.
So I did a little bit of research on this guy. He won 2 championships. He had 4 seasons in the top 20 for rebounds. He had 2 seasons in the top 20 for blocks. He played 82 games one season. He was 20th in box plus minus in 83-84. So that's a decent return there. Points per game, he was 17th in 81-82 at 20.8. And he was in the all-rookie team in 78-79. So, look, I love those pieces of, history. I love reading the back of the cards. They often have something interesting about it. And I think that's the other thing I'm going to do. I've decided each week too, I'm going to do a little bit of, research into that, particular player, because
I like it.
I'm going to really enjoy this segment a lot. Yeah.
See, I'm just in the back of my mind, I'm thinking of different names for the segment. I'm going to write in under a number aliases and see if I can get on the short list.
I'm going to trace your IP address.
Damn it. All right, I'll just put the nut. All right, ready for it? Diamonds in the rough.
Sure.
Yep. And Fool's Gold.
Fool's Gold is probably my current winner.
It's a current contender.
And I'm just saying that from my own point of view. That speaks to me highly.
Fool's Gold seems very appropriate to the topic.
Absolutely.
Yes. So if anyone else wants to take credit for that, they can post up on the socials and
let's put it to a vote. I would love for this to be sort of audience driven and
yeah. Awesome. Yes.
We're up to 54 minutes, Ad. Sorry, after you.
Almost an hour done. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward. I'm going to have to go treasure hunting.
Looking for Fool's Gold, Ad.
Looking for Fool's Gold. I'll probably come up with some Fool's Gold. Don't you worry. I'll get some gold cards.
Yeah.
It'll be Fool's Gold. But yes, I think that's it.
That's it. Final thoughts, Ad? Final
thoughts. Congratulations to whichever team won the grand final yesterday. And I hope it was my team. If it wasn't, I'm probably a lot sadder than I'm making out right now.
It's possible you won't be back for next week's podcast. You'll be having a week off in mourning.
That's it.
You need a public holiday for mourning, Ad.
Yeah. It's Russell might be flying solo next week due to Mad Monday-itis and stuff. But no. But that was a good quick hitter. We've talked about the Clippers. Grand final week next year, we can talk about them again.
Yeah, sounds like a deal.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Russell, as always. Thanks to everybody that's been listening. And, say hi to us on socials.
Cheers, mate.
See you guys.